it's important to bear in mind that there are different kinds of inflationary pressures. And in this case, primarily, we're seeing imported inflation. That is that three quarters of the price rises we're seeing are being driven by non-domestic factors like the war in Ukraine. And this has a few implications. That's first of which that there isn't actually a huge amount that can be done via immediate domestic policy to reduce inflation beyond the Bank of England raising interest rates. So the government should be entirely focused on reducing the impact of inflation on those affected by it the most, those who will be really experiencing a cost of living crisis rather than a cost of living crunch, and then reorienting the economy towards growth in the long term. On the first point, the government has cut fuel duty, which has lowered the cost of driving, but this is unfortunately quite a regressive intervention to make. Higher income households tend to drive more, and so therefore more will be left in the pockets of those who don't actually need it. Now, what I would suggest, rather than pursuing a fuel duty tax cut and the council tax rebate, which sort of is regressive in the same way, I would argue that it actually makes sense for the government to provide a single £500 means-tested payment to those who are being worst affected by the cost of living crisis.
OK, so you're saying a sort of a means-tested payment of about £500, and that's something that you'd like to see immediately. What is your view on something like the windfall tax or lowering VAT, for example?
I mean, the windfall tax is an interesting one. I don't think it's a great tax in and of itself because it sends quite bad signals to business. You know, there is a more sensible argument to be had about the rate of taxation experienced by energy companies. But a windfall tax is probably not the best way to raise revenue to spend on the cost of living crisis. I mean, historically, they haven't always raised as much as expected. So it's not a tax that I would personally be interested in being raised.